I was born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Born and raised in California.
I'm from Guatemala, Central America.
Well, I was originally born in Carlsbad, actually, Southern California.
I was born in Lima, Peru. Fairly young in my life, I focused that I had a strong interest in medicine and started telling people I wanted to be a physician. I don't think I knew exactly what was about. I think the commitment and the science and biology was one of my favorite courses. Anatomy in high school, when you learn about the bones, I could recite the bone, all the bones in the human body very quick, very fast.
When I was 2 years old and we took a hike, I'm the one running in front of my siblings, you know, climbing on rocks and stuff, and always very sociable. Big social butterfly. That's always been kind of the term to describe me.
I was so friendly, and yeah, I have a lot of friends, and we always go swimming, play basketball, and every activities. I enjoy that.
I mean, I was like 10 or 11. They got me a bow and arrow for Christmas. A real bow and arrow, you know, not with the little rubber tips on them. This is like steel arrows. So I went down to our basement and, you know, shot up the lounge chairs from summertime, you know, put arrows through them, and put an arrow through our dehumidifier, because I don't know why. It never worked well after that either, let me say.
I tend to love people, and so I had a lot of friends. My mom would always say, what are you guys talking about? Why are there, you know, always coming over, and you guys are always, I would say to her, I remember, and she would always make fun of me later. She goes, I don't know, Mom, they just like coming to me with their problems. So I think at an early age, I honestly believe that I think I knew what I wanted to be.
I actually remember telling my mom when I was in high school, Mom, I have no talents whatsoever. You know, I see these people who can dance and sing, and she said, Mia, you have compassion for people, and you have this ability to interact with everyone. And she's like, that's a talent. And so I thought about it, and well, maybe it is a talent. So, and I guess that explains why I'm doing what I'm doing. So.
And I remember after my dad passed, which was 2 weeks after he came onto hospice, I remember thinking back at that experience and remembering how that social worker gave us such peace and support in guiding us through his transitions, you know, through the steps, through the process was what we do, you know, and now in the books that we read. And I remember the book that she gave us, and it was just so comforting to know and to be with him and to know where he was in his journey, that I said, I want to do that. And even then, I still didn't know it was hospice that I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to do that for people.
My grandmother, she passed away from cancer when I was 6 years old. And I remember she was laying in her all-white bed, and it was a cloudy day, and we had windows along a hallway. And she was laying there all in her white bed in her white nightgown, and we were around. I was the only child out there. My siblings didn't really know how to handle it, but I just wanted to be there with her. And she took her last breath, and a tear fell out of her eye, and the clouds parted just enough to shine light on her face, and she was gone. And it still gives me chills to this day, you know.
The hospice delivery system is I think it is what it is in terms of being so successful in reaching these patients and family, because essentially because this team approach. You know? And there are different needs for the family, different things that we can help them. The social worker helping them in housing arrangement, in funeral arrangements, in helping them with family issues that are unresolved, which are very critical, live and day. and so important that it's the only time they had to resolve those issues.
The families get the support from the social workers and chaplains that they didn't always get sometimes, because it's all about, in the medical profession, the hospitals, is really just about treating the patients, and they get discharged, and the families are just supposed to do whatever they can do to care for them. But hospice is there to support the families as well, to make sure they know how to do that, and to have the education and the resources and the tools and the supplies to do that.
But when you're together, when you do joint visits, it's like you support each other, you bounce things off of each other, you pick up and support where maybe one can fall back, and it's just timing, it's almost. And so when you have a relationship with your team members in that way, timing is everything, and it kind of just flows.
A lot of things you can do for those patients. They have a bad sickness, but they are still conscious, So sometimes they just need to talk, or sometimes they need just, maybe it's little things, but for them it's a lot, means a lot.
This is all integrated, emotional, spiritual, physical, intellectual, psychical, whatever. So I like that component, I like the team approach.
The social worker or chaplain will call me and say, hey, I was just with this patient and they were having pain. And, so we really work together really well.
Communication is important, obviously, and I see that a lot in the field between nurses and social workers and spiritual care coordinators. I see the work that the hospice aides do. It's very intimate. They're with them for a great period of time.
Everybody's different, but I had a patient, she loves the way I put lotion in her body, and she say I have angel hands.
I feel like we do a good job of communicating with each other and depending on each other and respecting the roles that we each play and bringing those roles together so that the patient and the family have the best outcome possible.
One time too, I need to talk with the social service about one of the patients. So right away I called social service, Elba, and I explained her about the patient, and they fixed the problem. And I was happy too.
That's one of the greatest honors for me anyway, as far as what I do, is just to be able to provide a family, a patient and their family, some stability, some normalcy, some peace, and knowing that they're not alone in this and that they have options and that their wishes are respected, and we want to be there for them and do what they want.
You feel like this is the way it needs to be done, This is what it's all about. It's, the nitty-gritty where it really hits the road. So I'm happy to be a part of that process.
There's days that I wake up and say I don't want to get out of bed, but there's never a day that I get up and say I don't want to go to work. And that's a great feeling. It's hard to find.
Me being a medical director of this company made me very proud of it, that we are also trying to close that gap of lack of knowledge. So the blog is a fantastic instrument to inform the public. Well, hospice is a service, or you are entitled to them through our system. Use it because this is going to be helpful, and also learn about the end of life.
I was looking through pictures recently because you wanted some pictures for this, so I brought an envelope full of pictures. And I noticed that there were a lot of pictures of my dad in there, and whether it was when I was young, around the Christmas tree, or later when I was in Little League, or seemed like in important places in my life, my dad was there. And I don't really remember that as a young boy, that presence that much. These transitions in life really are significant. It's interesting to be a child and to grow up and then see your parents in one vein and then track them through life, and at some point later on you see them in a whole different vein, and you look at these pictures and they were so young and so vital and so full of life.
We have patients who had gone through 60, 70, 80, 90 years of life who had all this legacy of families and their legacy into when they were active in the community producing. And so let's celebrate life. Let's celebrate their life.
I like celebration. I do. I look forward to going to it, and it's. I hear somebody say it's refilling.
I like celebrations, but always cry over there too, to hear all the nice experience. I always cry too. But that's a good feeling. You take all things from your heart.
I could never have imagined that I would have ended up exactly where I was supposed to be, not knowing where that was until now. I love the people who I work for. I love the people I work with. And overall, I love what I do and the people and the patients that I serve and their families. So I feel like I'm the luckiest person ever and super grateful. Yeah. That was the easiest question ever right there.